going to vote for then?
I'm not declaring. So far, I haven't declared. I am not declaring. I didn't declare during the MP rounds, and I'm not going to declare during this round. And there is a simple reason for that, which is once you declare and you're seen as part of a camp, it's very difficult to actually come out and comment on what is going on without it being seen as representing someone else. Obviously, I want to be free to comment on the big issues that we face, and for that reason, I don't see it necessary to declare who I'll be voting for. But I do have a voting power for 2 votes, and I would use it.
Okay, well, in that case, if you are this, unbiased commentator on the race, what do you make?
I'm not angling for a job either, so
what do you make of the leadership race so far? Then the campaign.
I think it's been disappointing because the reason why the vacancy exists is to resolve how we go forward on Brexit. And I don't think we've made any progress on that during the course of this contest.
Well, some with the opposite view from you might not think that. They might think that actually we have made the promise that we're going to get out by the end of October.
We're going to get out by the end of October, but a government that has got a working majority of 3 and a new prime minister that hasn't faced the electorate, I think will struggle in practice to take the UK out of the EU without a deal when a significant majority of the population is also against that option. At the end of October, we face 2 options. We either revoke or we leave without a deal. And my view is both options are extreme and there is no mandate for either option. And so for a new prime minister to tack either way without going back to the people would be impossible. And that is why I stood on the platform of a referendum, not because I wanted one, I desperately want one, but we need a way to break the impasse. And a general election for the Conservative Party at this stage would be suboptimal.
So if we get to the end of October and the Prime Minister, whoever he is going to try and take the UK out of the EU without a deal, will you try and stop them?
I have always voted against no deal, and I will continue to do so. And not just me, I think there are a lot of MPs on the Conservative side.
So how many do you think?
Across the House of Commons. Well, I think there is a significant number that would use legislative options to do 2 things.
I mean, is that like less than 10? Is that more like 30? I mean, what give us a bit of guidance?
About 30 plus. But what they'll be looking to do is stop the new Prime Minister from proroguing Parliament in order to deliver no deal, but also create options for the new Prime Minister so that no deal is not the only option we face on the 31st of October.
So how will you do that then?
Well, there are a number of legislative mechanisms being looked at the moment, and we'll sort of come to them when we do. I wouldn't want to sort of announce them before they've been sort of tested as viable. But there is a real concern, and the real concern here is not about leavers or remainers. The real concern here is that this is not in the interest of our country. Now, in the last week, you asked me what do I think of the contest. We've had a lot of commentary on Brexit and how we're going to receive a Brexit boost by cutting this tax and cutting that tax. Actually, what all of this is about is staving off economic mayhem. Now, in a scenario where you sort of break off your legs and get on crutches and say that is a dividend, it's not a mobility dividend, it's not a dividend. You're hurting the economy. I think that is something that most people are concerned about. The union is also very important. I have seen, for example, Boris Johnson said he will be minister for the union. But when you reflect on it, imposing on the English Tories, imposing on the Scots, the policy they least like, and that causes them harm, is the most likely way for us to have a second successful Scottish independence referendum. So no deal could break up the country and also harm our economy. So for that reason, there are a lot of MPs, and it's not about Leave Remain, who think that the truly patriotic thing to do is not to play to Nigel Farage's tune, but to find a better way forward.
You're talking about some important issues there, but isn't democracy also important? The majority of people in the UK voted to leave the European Union. I mean, that is why we are here. And if they feel that MPs are effectively trying to ignore them, then that's going to be also mayhem, isn't it?
That's a complete fallacy in the debate. People voted to leave the EU, but people were told that there will be a deal. The Leave campaign told people...
Well, there might be a deal if MPs voted for it.
But Nigel Farage and those people didn't want that deal, right? They say they don't want the deal that's on the table. But people were told during the referendum campaign that there will be a deal. People were told in our manifesto that there will be a deal. The anti-democratic thing to do would be having promised people that there will be a deal and they will have the exact same benefits to take the the UK out of the EU without a deal where people's jobs suffer. That is the undemocratic thing to do in this situation. Nobody voted to leave without a deal.
You are clearly very worried about the idea of leaving without a deal. Now, earlier on the programme, Labour's Barry Gardiner said that Labour will hold a confidence motion in the government when they feel that there's enough support from the Conservative side. Can you rule out ever voting against a Conservative government in a confidence motion?
I've been very explicit about that's not something I intend to do. I think it's the nuclear option. I don't want to go there. I know some that are considering it, but I wouldn't go there. But I believe that the measures...
Can you rule it out?
Yes. But the other measures we are looking at will be sensible and will be pragmatic and will create space for the new Prime Minister to move away from what they think they have to say in an election campaign for 160,000 members and govern in the interest of the country.
You're clearly talking to some of the MPs who, as you say, are potentially considering the confidence motion option. Do you think that there's enough that it might pass?
I can't comment for others, but I think that for the future of the many people who think leaving without a deal and playing to Nigel Farage's tune is a good thing, I think that is the way to save the Conservative Party. And I think that is also wrong, because a Conservative Party that breaks up the union, a Conservative Party that damages the economy, but a Conservative Party that becomes the governing arm of the Brexit Party will very quickly run out of voters and wouldn't be in government very long.
Would you stay as an MP if you felt that was the case?
Yes, I'm going to fight for what is real conservatism, and real conservatism is pragmatic. Real conservatism is not worried about thinking again, and real conservatism, above all, puts the country first. And I think that is what I and a number of my colleagues who are concerned about No Deal will be fighting for over the next few weeks and months. We want to rediscover what has made the Conservative Party the most successful democratic party in the world, is that we are pragmatic, we are pro-business, and also we have been instrumental to this 300-year successful union that our country has. That's what I'll be fighting for.
Okay, Gyimah, thank you very much for coming on the programme this morning.